Hello, everybody. My name is Brooks Martin. I'm a retired IT guy, and spent a lot of time messing around with Spire. I created this kind of cool little animal here. This, medieval shield is what I was shooting for. It's relatively simple. Four basic components: the shield, the motif in the center of the Archangel Gabriel is what I called it. This lion flourish, and these rosehead nails, rivets, whatever you would call them. I'll walk you through how I did it. Let's see, there's these components, and there's tabs here too that are important later, but for demonstration purposes I turned them off. How did I get here? Well, let's take a look. First thing I did was create the shield. Shield is pretty straightforward. I used the spin and turn feature and created a two-sided project. My jobs, I always, use Max modeling, just because the computer can handle it, and I try to optimize it. So what we have here is basically this vector right here. I turned and spun that around using this tool, and created it. We call it the top shield right here. This is what it looked like. And you can see top shield. So then I copied this vector to the other side, and you can see that here. This is what's going on here. And that tool. So, copy this vector to the other side, and I shrunk it down and extended this profile flat to the edge, which is important because when you do the backside, the way I pick the boundaries, it would need this dimension. And turn and spun that, shrunk it down, and cool thing is, it's about, where is that? Let's turn both sides back on. Cool thing, expire. Alright, where is it? Turn this off. Top. There. Holding the control key down and having both sides viewable, which is right here, toggling this on and off. Holding the control down does not show you the thickness, but when you have both sides visible, the control, you can see down here in the bottom right hand corner, thickness tells you how thick it is all the way across the model. And then I use the profile tool here, cross section, to create what it looked like. So this is a side view of the side view of the shield. So you can see it's got a little concave and a little convex. So then what do? I just call this the blank, and I normally export that out. I crank this all the way up. I crank it up to like until the pixelation goes away. Do both sides, triangulate. Give it a minute. We'll do a top view. You can see there's no triangulation going on here. But what happens if we go back down here to 4, or 1 decimal point away. And we look at that again, top view. Now you can start to see, not so much. Let's do it one more time. And triangle. Now we do a top view. You can start seeing these little wedges, the triangulation in there. So I try to optimize this. And it looked like 04 was enough. Or, what is that? 4 thousandths? No, that's 0.4 thousandths. Triangulate that. And top view. Barely see it. Barely see it. We can get away with that. So then I would save it. I'd save it off to my STL file. Projects. I've got a folder for my STLs here, and give it a name. And this is going to be important later on, because we'll import that and we'll position the modeling plane centered to the sidewall of the shield itself. And that will allow you to put the tabs in here that do not go into the body of the shield. Otherwise, it just puts it on the modeling plane. I haven't figured out a way to move a component on the modeling plane. So that said, I came back into here and imported my blank shield. And let's do that real quick. Show you what I mean by positioning the model. So let's just create a new sheet for that. And let's import test, just add it. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's make that active. Now, let's go back here, import a 3D component, and we will go back to my STLs. Shield blank. Bam. What we got here, it's pretty much so centered and everything, because I built it myself. Keep the ratio the same, and then if you needed to change the size, this is the place to do it right here. Modeling size, but everything's perfect. I created it and saved it, so we're just importing it into this model. And positioning, this is the important thing. See how it's sitting on top of the modeling plane? I want to get that right in the center of the sidewall. That way, when I add tabs, they'll be centered right there. So import. Let's turn this on, and we can see what it looks like. There aren't any vectors here to get rid of the outside area. So let's do that right now. We'll look at the other sheet. And we'll look at our layers, profile, turn on our vectors. 2D view is a little easier. And copy this to the new sheet we just made. Testing 1, 2, 3. Go back to testing 1, 2, 3. And then we'll clip it, the model. So we select that, and this, and we get rid of everything outside. Bam. Now when we go back to the 3D view, all we see is the modeling plane out there. We don't have the material showing up all the way out there. So this is the basic thing. We've got a shield. We've imported it. Now what's next? Well, if you look at the other guy, what's a good shield without a metal rim? Right? So I made this little rim right here. Simple designing tool right here. Raised component and limited the height of it. And the rim is right here. So I put a 44-degree angle on it, limited it to 33%, and just named it rim. Bam, there it is. And what else we got? The next thing we did was create the, I created the image of the motif in the center. And that was created right here. And you can see, there's the component of all of it. And here's all the parts that I used to build it. This is what the model looked like. How I created it. Let's turn all the layers on so you can see the how it was created. And that's a fast way, just hit the button up here. So here's all the vectors I used to create this animal. F, the center, and legs are separate, base right here, wings are where I started, and I have a profile cutting out the bitmap. Speaking of, where did I get this image? Midjourney. I created this prompt here to come up with it. You can see he created. It took a while for me to get what I wanted. There's quite a few here. It boiled down to this guy or this guy, and you can see I went with this one. I wanted to sort of have a Superman mode where it was flying at you with the sword coming at you. Try to put fear into your opponents, but I gave up at this point. You can see I tried many different prompts. And imported that image into the fresh session of Aspire. And first thing I did was to take a look at the created a component from that image. See what I was looking at. How good is it? It's got some depth. Look at this thing. It's not too bad. Let's open it up. And it's almost 200,000s. Pretty much straightforward. And I went with that. And then you can see it's a little flat, so I added these parts. Now it's got some depth to it. A little bit bolder. And basically the left wing. Let's take a look at that. Profile, which is a negative profile. It's in the subtract mode. And 33 degrees. No clipping. Scaled it. Let's see. Can I do this? Yeah, do both. So here's the next, the left wing. And then we created the upper part of the wing. And to get this rim right here, I just lowered it further into it. The next component was the base down here, cloak, main body, biceps, forearm, so on and so forth. The neck, and then the veins in the neck and whatnot. And here we go. Hair, whatnot. Next thing was, I made an image of this, a model of it. Went into sculpting, you know, had only these on it and used the create component from visible model and turned off everything else. And then I went into sculpting, smoothed out all these joints and stuff like that. You'll see. What it looked like raw. And I added the legs and hair. Forgot the hair, sorry about that. And this is the final part. Problem is, I should have put a foot down here. You'll see that it doesn't have a lot of height to the foot. But it doesn't look so bad. Okay, so now we've got two of our four components, the motif centerpiece and the shield. So this is what it looks like now. So this is what it looks like. So next thing I did was build the lion flourish. This guy right here. How did I build it? Pretty straightforward. Well, sort of. Right here is the lion flourish. How did I get here? Pretty straightforward. I created it here. First thing I did was import an STL, this guy here, which I acquired from Scan the World, which is a pretty cool site. Full collection, Scan the World. And these are all downloadable. They're somebody thought they were cool enough to put in there, and I like some of them. Yeah, and they're pretty good STLs, really good. I think it's mainly for 3D printing and whatnot, but I'm using it in Aspire. And I picked out the lion right here, and the components. This is the lion. Imported it in using the same import technique before, positioned it to center it, so I got this profile, and then I lowered it down into the plane to get this thickness. Okay, the next step was after that was to get rid of what I don't want. So I cropped it. Oh shoot, I'm on the wrong window. Right here. And this is me importing it to show you how we did it. So left minus top view, and then I use these little widgets down here to position how you want it. And I wanted a sort of a front on sight. Center the model into the material, and it's pretty dang big. Now look at this, 130 inches. or millimeters. So let's just convert it to there. And that's about it. So we position it. I want to get a side view, and I want to clip it right down through here, so we get some of the mane and whatnot. And beauty is we can use the up-down arrows and spin it around, see how much we get. That's pretty good. It's awful thick, but we'll deal with that later. Import it. And bam, here we are. And when I did this one, I cropped it to this vector, created a vector, just to get the head, and sized it appropriately. There's a couple ways of doing that. I just use the shape height. This tool, the embossing tool, sort of is not perfect. I didn't like it, so I just shaped it and cropped it. Then I imported a flourish from, actually what I did was save this off as an STL again, and ClipArt. Do both, and then went back into this file. And here's my Lionhead ClipArt, and imported from the ClipArt library that Vector gives you this flourish right here, 142D, and made a copy of that visible model. Excuse me, where are you? And it's an old song, and the words are all the same, and we can sing along in any language, any name. That's what I produced. This guy. Then again, I saved that as the ClipArt, and also an STL for if I want to use it again. I've got it. Then in the shield build, white shield, wrong file here. Now the truth seems so much clearer when I get it. Sheet, sorry, excuse me. So there it is. I imported it right there and copied it with a circular array, choosing the center. I guess I have to highlight the component first. Pick the center of rotation, and then I made I think 9 was my choice, and grouped them. Well, I didn't group them. I just did that. Create them all the way around, keeping the center angle. Oops. Undo that. Nine copies. And bam. There it is. Close that, and in the component tree you can see them right here. and they're all highlighted. This is a good point to clean up your component tree, so you don't have a bazillion lines of components to wade through. So, since I already have it, it's right here. So this is what we're looking at now. One more component. What I call is the rose head. And started very basic. First off, create a new sheet, a new project actually, and optimize the size of it. Just did a raised diamond type thing here, and put a draft on it. But thought it looked too manufactured, too modern, too I'm thinking medieval forges, rose heads and whatnot. So I made a copy of this, you know, put it in ClipArt, and then throw it away. But I went a different route. Went and created a rose head from scratch using a spire to create this component. Came up with 3 versions of it, and Rosehead 2 is one I like the most. There again. Alright, now create a STL of it. And also created a ClipArt from it. Exported it as into my ClipArt folder, which can be accessed in the ClipArt thing, and these are all things I've created over the years. A bunch of different stuff. And there's the line of flourish. Rosehead's way down here. Rosehead 2. There. So, this is another cool one. This is what started me on this path. Was this guy, which looks pretty cool, but you can do better. And back to here. So I imported the rose head. And did the same thing. I recopied it around this 13 times. And that's it, basically. Now to cut this animal out, I created a limit plane, basically added a new level, and named it limit plane, and then put a zero plane in there. Shift on the create flat shape, and did I adjust the height of this? Yes, I gave it a negative 25.25, negative quarter of an inch, and then added tabs. Could have done better on the tab. I used 3D ClipArt. Hello. Come on.
And the Patriot Police are busy chasing us around. Could this really be my life, or is the circus in town? And there's a lot of
3D tabs.
that I'd like to know.
And I just used this one here, which turned around and bit me in the proverbial because they broke a little bit when I was messing around. And imported one, put it right there, and it right copied that all the way around. And then selected them all and said copy to the other side. You can see now these tabs are right in the center of the sidewall of the shield. That was kind of important when we don't have this tab going into the plane of the shield or underneath. Where it has to be sanded. So made life a little bit easier. Alright, so how do I toolpath this? Well, first thing as always, we check our material model setup, centered it in the material, and it's a two-sided project, so I put dowel holes in right here.
Is it simply inattention?
Okay,
Like standing on a ledge?
layers.
Are we
Line
just
the dowels.
living for one calamity?
And put some holes up here for hold down, which bit me also. Only having 4 hold downs screws, it sort of was off level. Should have put another here and here, maybe here and here, keep it nice and flat. Remember, this material is 24 inches tall, about 18 inches wide. And it's Bamex material with 2 pieces glued together. And Bamex, pretty cool material you can pick up from Cutting It Close website. I know they're a distributor. They're just a distributor. Probably somebody else can get it cheaper, but this is a source I know of, and he's part of the community, so support a brother out. And I cut it in half, the sheet in half, along the width, and glue those together. Then start to carve. Let's see, where is that folder? And here's the first carve. What it looked like after I popped it out. Looks pretty cool, but you can see where it raised up on me a little bit, or it wasn't perfectly flat. This I just wetted it to raise the grain for sanding. And thinking about it, wow. Let's get rid of these highlights. We don't want that circle around it. Let's highlight the motif. So, hit it in here. Where is the Dremel tool? Is this it? Yeah. So this is what I use to grind out around the that light bamboo section of this Bamex material, and it is a cut saw burring bit. It took me a little bit of time, sure, it wasn't quick. And this is the cut saw tool I used. 12 bucks, you know, not bad. I got coarse ones and very coarse. Did the majority of the work with the fine one. Okay. And that was the creation. But when I cut it out, let's go back to the toolpath. remember we have the tabs and components right here. With the tab level, I used selected level, and you'll notice tabs and limit plane are merging, and the tabs are merging. So let's take a look at that. What does that look like? So if we run this, you gotta remember I've got max resolution on the previous screen and max modeling resolution. So the preview might take a little bit of time, and I'll speed it up for the video. So let's preview that. I usually send the use a boundary adjust the bit thickness. So the bit I'm cutting here is a 3/8 burring bit, and so that means I went beyond the border 3/8 of an inch just to give room for the finishing bit to come in. And the finishing bit was a 16th tapered ball nose at 5.4 degree angle, and I send that one out a little bit beyond the model boundary offset, so I can get in there and cut the tabs a little bit easier. And you know, starting to show up. Start to see it. Another key way to speed up this raster roughing toolpath is to check the avoid machined areas right here. Check that. And here's the bit size. So the boundary offset was the width of the bit. I leave 32nd of material for the finishing pass. Now remember, this is a flat bottom bit, so you'll leave at least 32 thousandths, and it'll be more because of the steps it'll end up creating. You saw that in the preview. You see all these steps, so they're going to be a little bit bigger than what it is. If you used a 1/2 inch bit, it's going to be a lot bigger. If I used a 1/4 inch, it'll take a lot longer, but it'd be less material. Just something to be aware of. So finishing pass, bam, and you'll see that the tabs are here. They did not get cut out; they were merged into the model, and makes it a lot easier than selecting a vector. Well, you could do either way. This is the path that Becky and Todd showed me in some of their videos from Vectrix for two-sided projects. Yeah, it takes a while, doesn't it? Remember, it's almost 18-inch diameter. This project took probably 36 hours to carve with a 16th finishing bit. I'll show you the run times here in a minute. And it's a perfect candidate for tape splitting. tape splitting is a cool little tool. I'll show you that while this is going on. I modified my post processor to include this section right here. Tape splitting. These are commented out with the plus sign. This is the only active part of it right here. Is tape splitting, space, the amount of lines that I want it to split at. And this number here will tell you basically how close to that number it'll split. Because it'll only split once it's at a raised position. It won't stop at the middle of a carve when it's on the material. It'll wait for a raise of the Z to do that. Another key point is to have a unique post-processor file name. So right here, I use a CamMaster machine, and when we're talking about that, let's flip it over to the other side and look at the runtime. It's 20 hours on just the finishing right here. The finishing toolpath, I try to speed up I do speed it up by changing my plunge speed to the same as my XY speed. So it helps a little bit, especially with a 3D carve where it's going up and down a lot. And let's go to the other side and get that carving. We'll carve these two visibles and talk a little bit more about this tape split. So key points is this is the amount of lines. This file was almost 1 million lines of code, and it broke it up into 5 different files. This is the type of file, and there's a good tutorial of how to use it within Vectrix. Right under Help, Edit, Post-Processor Editing Guide. And you'll have to scroll down to the 3rd or 4th key item block there. I got a lot going on here. So, what does the post-processor do? Blah, blah, blah. Selections, file commands, global statements, segments, tape splitting. And, there's just a little bit in here. And it tells you what you need to know. This is the format. You're going to start the file with a 1. I use tab files. You can name this anything you want. If you use a Gerbil or you use a whatever, I use tab, and it's a pretty good explanation. Output will be split into multiple files of a max of 1,000. That's this number right here. By the way, you do need a white space between the equal signs and the name and the argument. However, many lines in there are within the footer section of the post processor. If a retract move that exists after the 900 line, 1,000 minus 100, file will be split at that move. If the file was called toolpath, it'd be toolpath _1 and 2 and 3, 4. Pretty cool tool. Let you walk away. You don't have to baby your machine the 20 hours that we saw here. So, just about done. Just about done. Bam. That's what it looks like. Got tabs. Like I said before, these are too small for the size of this project. And it might be the bamboo problem there. I've gotten away with it for all hardwoods maple, walnut, cherry. Haven't had a problem with it. And there's the shield. Looks pretty cool. One other thing that I did that made it pretty cool was wood. So to do that, I click on the properties of the component, and I set the appearance to use material and maple. And we can change it to anything. Let's say dark oak. And what's that look like? There it is. Change the look. Set, put it back to maple. Close. So in a nutshell, I did the same thing for the rosehead rivets. Changed that to mahogany. Changed this one to oak, the lion's head. Let's just double click that. We'll see it says medium oak. Rivets. I said use material, mahogany. Close. So in a nutshell, that is how I got here. What does it look like? Well, let's go into the folder. And pre-finished, this is what it looked like. A little rough. I ground down the high spots. I left this because I painted that, the rivets. Wasn't too impressed when I put the stain on. It just didn't really have that much contrast in here. So I used a tung oil covering for a finish, and it still didn't bring it out. So I took some gel stain and wiped it into the holes. So when I did it before gel stain, just doesn't really pop out. Standing away from it doesn't really do a whole lot for me. And then I add some gel stain. It gives it a little bit more, but just not right there. So it's still a work in progress. I'm not sure where I'm going to go from here. By the way, I did paint. It was some craft paint, some shading I did. Tried to bring some highlights into here, make it a little bit more visible, and cover up these rose heads. I hope you got something out of this video. Thought it was a pretty cool project, fun to do. I told Lenny O'Shaughnessy when he was asking for a project to do that I had a semester of classes building that lion shield, and I learned a lot of things. Mainly getting that modeling plane right for the tabs and stuff, and then I looked at rest machining options. They all just didn't really suit my way. The times were comparable. I think I gained 3 hours max by using two different bits, an 1/8 inch and a 1/16 inch bit. And there's always that issue of height with rest machining. I never can get my second bit height right. I always end up with a shadow line around it. So I just went ahead with it. I did add some drafting to the motifs all the way around. Didn't really matter for the center motif because I used that Dremel tool to grind it all the way, and I manually put in some draft to it. By the way, that grinding took me probably 2 hours. And let's see, I mentioned the baking. I still don't know how come it keeps on changing the modeling level or size and everything. But baking seems to alleviate that. I did like that rose head option of making it. I do like the model level as the machining boundary. When I tape split this, It was, like I said, 5 separate files, each running for about 6 hours, and turned out really good. The Lion had one line at one stop. There was some shifting overnight or drifting. I left the compressor on and everything, and the machine on too, just to do that. But there was only one shadow line, witness line of the rest machining, and rest machining just picked up right where when rest machining will take a copy of the header and the footer, and then only break up the carving techniques and put it between those footers, and give you as many files as you defined the thickness of it. Yeah, and pay attention to the preview. Well, usually what you see in the preview is what you get. 3D tabs was something I learned on, getting it right into the sidewall centered and positioning that model to the center of the modeling plane to the sidewalls of the shield. I hope you got something out of it. It was a fun project. As you can see, it's pretty easy to do. When Lenny did his class, he bought the 3D components, and that could sort of make it a V-Carve Pro piece of art or toy or whatever you want to call this thing. But I think you can do most of it in V-Carve. The components that I made, you can't do that. Positioning, I think you can do that. You can't change the level or the use of material to make it look more like real wood. Can't do that. Yeah, pretty cool project. If you like it, click like. If you don't, oh well. It was fun. Thanks for watching.